Hi everybody, Mark Dorr here with Mark Dorr Education. And if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to like and subscribe, okay? Well, let's talk about commas. Let's not talk about everything about commas. That's too much. Let's just talk about a few common comma issues. How to use them, when not to use them. The first one, using them in a series. For example, go to the store and buy lettuce, tomatoes, and beans, right? Putting the commas there gives us that spacing, that little separation that we need rather than lettuce, tomatoes, beans. All right, can also avoid some really bad confusion. An example might be, Alejandro enjoys cooking his family and his dog. Without those commas, he's cooking his family and his dog, right? So you need those there. The second one is direct address. I'm talking to you, comma, Jane, right? So without that comma, you could have some other bad problems, such as if you said, hey, let's go eat, Grandpa, right? Hey, Grandpa, let's go eat. But without the comma, it's, hey, let's go eat Grandpa. Not good. Third is separating clauses. Just a quick rundown about independent and dependent clauses. An independent clause is a sentence by itself. It's a subject and a verb put together in a way with words that make sense by itself. An example, she told me to go. That all makes sense together, right? A dependent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb, but it does not express a complete thought, such as, because I can't wait for the bus. All right? So, independent clause stands by itself. Dependent needs something else, doesn't make sense, right? Now, let's use a simple rule that can help us with a lot of problems with commas. DC, comma, IC, IC, DC, IC, comma, fanboys, IC. That covers a lot of territory. So let's work through that. Dependent clause, comma, independent clause. An example would be, from what I just used, because I can't wait for the bus, comma, she told me to go. Oh, okay, that's how that works. Now we could just switch it around and put the independent clause first and drop the comma. She told me to go because I can't wait for the bus. See how that works? Now if you have two independent clauses together, you use one of the fanboys. If you're not familiar with that, that's a way to remember for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys. So to connect two independent clauses, two clauses that could stand separately as sentences, we can just put a comma after one and put one of those fanboys in there. Using our previous example, I can't wait for a bus, so she told me to go. Wonderful. And you really shouldn't put two dependent clauses together. They just don't go. You have two incomplete sentences. Example from what we were talking about. If she told me to go because I can't wait for the bus. Pretty ugly, right? So we stay away from those. Now using appositives, and like Juanita, Joe's sister, is here. Joe's sister is describing Juanita. So we set that off with commas. Juanita, comma, Joe's sister, comma, is here. Using appositives can help show that you're a more advanced writer. It can make sentences shorter, more clear. It's nice. And of course you have to use them in appropriate ways like anything else. But now if you didn't include it, it might make the sentence just sort of run together, a big glob of words. I have an example for you. Here's what the inventor of transwarp drive Ann Archer said to the audience. Wow, a lot of words coming at you at once. Why don't we change it around a little bit, put in the appositive there with commas and say, here's what Ann Archer, the inventor of transwarp drive, said to the audience. Ann Archer, comma, the inventor of transwarp drive, comma. We have our appositive. The way you can check if you've used an appositive correctly is if you can remove what's between the commas and it still makes sense, then it's okay. So in this case, we would have, here's what Ann Archer said to the audience. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we used the appositive correctly. Finally, remember that just like all parts of use of language, we change it with our register. We change it with the appropriate register. Is it a formal register that we're using? Is it an informal register? Is it a very intimate register? And so we change it with that. That's why you would see in academic writing very often, you see more commas than you'll see in a novel, because they have different purposes. In academic writing, we're trying to be very clear and we're trying to get these points across, an A to B to C. In literature, we're following the flow of it and we're getting into the feeling of that. And if we have a bunch of commas all the time, it kind of chops it up and makes it hard to follow. So you might notice that these comma rules, quote unquote, that are followed in academic writing are not followed so much in literature. Anyway, those are a few very big points with comma use. I hope they help you. I hope they help your students. Enjoy teaching and enjoy writing.